Q&A that or questions you may have along the way. If you have an urgent question you feel like you need an answer right away, feel free to use that question feature on the Citrix dashboard on your side of your screen. You can type in your question. John Hennessy here is going to do his best to keep an eye on that and either answer you one-on-one, or if it's important enough for everybody to hear the answer, he'll stop me and bring it to my attention. So the electronic app with Mutual of Omaha is available in all states except Montana and New York. So it's basically engineered for the Mutual Care Custom and Secure Solutions product that was launched here about 2.5 years ago. You've got our contact information here for both Golden Care USA and ourselves. And some of you have taken advantage of a website that we built exclusively for Axia partners for forms download. There's 2 different ways you can get to that, and I'm going to show you that website in just a second here. You can access it through my.axiapartners.com, or you can go direct to the aimforltc.com/axiapartners. But I'm going to just show you really quickly here what this looks like. When you get to that site, and the way you get to it on your own site is go to my.axia.axiapartners.com, click on long-term care or critical illness or whatever, and it'll bring up the list of carriers, and you just scroll down and this map will appear. And as you move your mouse across the U.S. and you're looking for a particular state like Nebraska, for example, it will show you that you've got the Mutual of Omaha long-term care, the Guaranteed Trust Life critical care, and the new Kemper standalone home health care plan available. If you were to click on that state, it takes just a second to react here. It will bring up for you a complete writing kit for Mutual of Omaha long-term care, along with the shopper's guide, the Medicare guide, right into the critical care, the rates brochure and application, along with their hospital indemnity plan, and then right into the Kemper standalone home health care plan. So all this is available to you from this site we built for you exclusively for Axia partners. So this is a resource that's available to you 24/7 to download a form if you're in dire need. The application for Mutual on here is all a fillable PDF, but now we're going to take you a step beyond that and walk into the wonderful world of electronic apps. So the first step in the process to accessing the electronic app is to establish a login ID and password on Mutual of Omaha's website themselves, because that's where this e-app resides. So I'm going to walk you through a little tutorial on how to set up an ID if you've never been up there before. But basically, a simple instruction sheet that I've already sent to Tracy, so she has that as a reference on your website as well. But basically, you're going to mutualofomaha.com, and then you're going to set up your own login and ID and password using your agent number, your Mutual of Omaha writing number as your registration key. And then from there, I'm going to take you right to the website itself. So here's the welcome page when you get to mutualofomaha.com. It will default to say individual client or individual customers here. You merely click on the down arrow and change that to sales professionals. And obviously, if you haven't established a username and password, you're going to go to this registration or register prompt. Click on that. Do all the I agree to stuff using your writing number as your registration key, and then you'll sign in. And then once into the website, this is what they call a sales professional access part of the mutualofomaha.com website. You'll click on Sales Tools and scroll down, and right down here in the bottom, there'll be the e-app, and then there's a sandbox. So you each have your own sandbox where you can play all you want. So you can practice up the yin-yang with it, and then obviously you can go right to the e-app itself. So we're going to go right to that e-app. So once you do click on the e-app prompt, it's going to take you to a screen that looks like this. So you'll have the ability here to start a new application, or to view applications you've already keyed on and maybe have not completed yet. So you'll be prompted, hang on, to select the state you're going to be writing the application in, and then you'll be asked to put in the proper commission code. And the commission codes that will be presented to you are either the number 6Q or AZ. So the 6Q is tied to Golden Care states, and the AZ is tied to American Independent Marketing states. Sorry, we got a couple of technical things going on here in the background. Sorry about that, everybody. So that's the only thing critical here, is to make sure you select the appropriate Bob code, what they call commission code, again, tying your application to either Golden Care or to American Independent Marketing. And if you're not sure what state you're writing in, if you go back to that forms material map, it will tell you right away that all those states that are in blue and or gray, because Montana and New York are still in the old product, but primarily all the blue states are American Independent Marketing states, and all of the red states here, and the maroon states, are all Golden Care states. So what I've done is I took the liberty in the last couple of days to actually start filling out an application, and I'm going to open that one up that I've already started working on. I haven't done any signatures yet, but I'll walk you through basically what I did to create a new application. So I populated an application for good old Alaska Jack. And so it was in a situation where I completed the application, but I had not achieved signatures yet. So I'm going to go back and kind of walk through the app. So I'm going to edit. Oops, let's see. Am I doing the right thing here, Kyle?
Go ahead and hit yes to edit.
Okay. Okay, here we are. So the application is presented to you exactly the same way it is presented to you on paper or on the fillable PDF if you've done that in the past. So the very first thing it presents to you is the personal worksheet. You can select single application or dual. So if you are doing a dual, it will bring up applicant B automatically, but if you're only doing a single applicant, it will leave it completely hidden. So you don't have to worry about having extra material being presented to you. And I'm not going to click through every page, but I just thought I'd go through a few of the pages just to give you an idea. And if you can always go to the table of contents to go right to a certain section of the application. In fact, some of these fields, you can actually go into an application, create an application, and populate a lot of different fields ahead of your actual Join Me session with your client. As an example, you could put in you can go to the general information page, for example, and you can key all their personal information in if you have that already ahead of time, like their name, address, phone numbers, email addresses, social numbers, that kind of thing. You can key all that in ahead of time, and that way you've got the majority of the generic material pre-populated on an application. And then when you do have your Join Me session begin, you can just go right to the health, have them verify the information is correct that you populated, and then go into the health information, and that would help expedite the application process itself. But I was going to go to the health questions a little bit and just give you an idea of what is presented to you based upon if you answer a question yes or a question no. And yes, you can save a pre-populated application without having a social number on there. It's all tied to right now, the saving capability for these apps is tied to the client name and your name. So these are the questions, the initial Section D health questions. These are the yes or no. If you have any no's, forget about it. You can't go past go. Do not bother to apply. So the application itself, where it is very robust. It's not intuitive. It doesn't judge you on how you answer the questions. So for example, the very last question on the knockout session is if you are currently receiving any form of disability, and where you may run into an exception here, where you could answer this question yes, and have mutual still consider the application. If you are working with a retired military, and they are on some form of VA disability, and it's less than a 50% disability, they can go ahead and apply for coverage with Mutual of Omaha. So it's a special dispensation for VA disability. So if you answer this question yes, it's going to bring up a warning to you that we are unable to accept this application. But you can still move ahead anyway. This application process on the e-app is not going to stop you from continuing on with the application. It's just going to pop this warning up to tell you that if you've answered yes to this section, you cannot move forward. So this would be an example where if you did have somebody on VA disability, truthfully you should answer the question yes, and then you might want to just type up an explanation of what makes up that VA disability and make it an attachment to the application itself when you submit it. So you have your physician information, then you get into what they call the additional health questions. And for example, I marked this guy out of Alaska as just a stud. I mean, he's got nothing wrong with him at all. I think he's 6'4", 220 pounds. But if I change an answer to yes, it is going to bring up a box down here at the bottom that's going to ask you to type in which question you answered yes, the condition, the month, year, just like you see on the current application. It will present that, and depending upon how many yeses you have, it's going to present one of these screens for each one of those yeses you had on the application. So from that standpoint, the application is quite intuitive.
Dave, this is John.
Yes.
Question from the audience on the Bob codes. Could you go through that again? I think it'd be beneficial for everybody to make sure they get that right.
Okay, yeah. When you first go to start an application, after you selected a state that you're going to be writing it in, it's going to prompt you. The prompt actually says commission code. And when you hit the down arrow, it'll bring up two commission codes. It'll either be a 6Q, the number 6 and the letter Q, or the letter A and the letter Z. And the 6Q is tied to Golden Care USA states, and the letter AZ is tied to American Independent states. And as I mentioned earlier, if you're doubtful as to what you don't know if it's a name state or a Golden Care state, you can go back to the form site, and all the states that are in blue are American Independent Marketing or AZ states. All the states that are in this reddish color or maroon color are Golden Care or 6Q states. I think that pretty much covered it, didn't I not, John?
I think so, but I've sent an inquiry to that effect out, so yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So the nice thing about the application is that it only presents you with what you need to see if you need it. So if you're working with somebody who just walks on water, no health conditions, no history of family health, and they're all no questions, it's going to present you with nothing else. But if you change an answer to a yes, it's going to open up the window that you would normally see on an application saying, okay, if you had yes to this, provide an explanation, as an example. So section I and J are the benefit selections pages, and it just asks you if you're selling the secure or the custom, and if you're doing the custom, it's just going to present you the blanks to fill in for the custom solutions product, whether it be the monthly benefit, the pool of money, rejection of the 5% compound, what inflation protection are you selecting, are you buying any additional riders, just what you're used to seeing on a regular application. Then you go on to the premium information page. I'm collecting money with my premium. I'm going to do a temporary insurance. I'm going to do an annual direct bill. But if I change this to a monthly, it will now present you with the bank information of filling in the bank routing number and the account number for the bank draft to happen. Again, if you're selecting a different mode, it doesn't bug you with all that additional page.
Dave?
Yes.
Another question. Can you review how to get into that sandbox area to play around with it? I've got somebody who's out there that can't figure out how to get in there.
Okay. Once you're logged into Sales Professional Access, which I walked you through that process, and we have typed up the instructions for that, and I've emailed that to Tracy. She has those on hand. Once you're in Sales Professional Access, you click on the tab labeled Sales Tools, and down at the bottom of the Sales Tool is the actual e-app itself, and the sandbox is right below it. So that's your playground to experiment and play with it. You can't break anything, you can't submit anything. That will give you experience on the flow of the different screens that are presented to you during the application process.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So these next few pages are the normal ones you see after the premium information. Here's where if you elect to have a third-party notifier for intentional lapse. Agreements and acknowledgments, this is where you type in the state and the city and state. And also right below it, there's a box you can check which will automatically populate the agent HIPAA form. This is a form that allows you to have a very open conversation with the underwriter during the underwriting process, and to have an immediate conversation with an underwriter. If someone is rated up for whatever reason or they're declined, you can immediately link up with the underwriter to get the details of that, well ahead of having to wait for, say, for example, a decline letter to get to your client to find out the actual reasons why that person was declined. So don't kind of bookmark this page, as that's a form you definitely want to have completed. Proof of statement. Now, we trialed this application about a month ago with a select few of you, and we got some really good feedback from people who initially tried this. When you get to the producer statement, this is the page that's all about you. This is where you say, yes, I witnessed all the questions being answered, and no, I'm not selling this to myself, I'm selling it to somebody else. Here's the rate class I used, and then here's information about me. So if you're splitting business, if you are splitting, it will present you another field to fill in another agent. If you're not, it's going to just have you type in the information about yourself. A concern that was raised was the social number. The agent felt it was kind of nervous typing in their personal social number in front of a client just for privacy issues. So the solution, the quick solution we come up with is you can just type in all ones in those boxes, and then I'll show you before the application is submitted how it gives you one more chance to edit the producer page where you can go back in and correct the social number to be actually your social. So what I'm going to do now, I've gone through a pretty good number of the fields just to give you a look and feel for how it looks like. What you'll notice, it is very much like the fillable PDF as far as how the information is presented to you. The nice thing is that it only presents to you what you need to complete, so you don't have to worry about skipping over sections or having to explain why you're skipping over section I on the benefit selections page and going right to J because you're selling the custom versus the secure. So just things to consider here. So I have a complete app now, and it says complete, ready to sign. If I had missed any fields or any answers of any questions, it would tell me it's incomplete, and I have to go back into the application itself and scroll through the different pages and look for the red ink where I've failed to answer one of the questions. So it's pretty foolproof. You cannot pass go until you have a complete application. So now I'm going to go and request signatures. And I'm going to hit this button only if Lance says it's okay to hit this button, or Kyle.
Go right ahead.
All right, so we have two sets of signatures we're looking for. We need to have Alaska Jack sign it, and then me as the agent has to go back through and sign where the producer is supposed to sign. So this is where I think this application really rocks, is the e-signature process. So I'm going to go, you've got your applicant with you on Join Me, and here we go. We're going to go sign off on this application. But you can't sign off on an application until you have provided your client all the leave behind materials. So we have important documents and then the electronic signature consent document. This particular one, all the important documents, it takes a little bit of time to load it because this is a 147-page PDF. It includes the things you need to know about long-term care, the outline of coverage, the NAIC Shopper's Guide. It includes the Guide to Medicare, all the leave-behind materials that you would normally give to a client or email to a client, it's going to load this PDF, and this takes just a little bit of time to happen. But once you load it, it's going to be a good old-fashioned normal PDF. And what you can do is, if you want to, you can save it to your desktop, and then you can email it to your client after you complete the application. What the EAP process is looking for you to do is that you have to have opened that piece in order to proceed. So we have opened it, we've saved it to our desktop, and we've emailed it to our client. And now we're going to go back and we're going to bring up the electronic consent form. So hopefully you're having your client read through this with you as you're working with them. And then once they've completed that and they say, okay, yeah, I'm good to go, we come back. And now these boxes are no longer grayed out. So I'm agreeing to the electronic signatures, and I want to go forward with my application, and I want to sign it. Just takes a second to load it. The nice thing about this is that it's not going to make you walk through every page. I just click on Next Signature, and it takes me to the first signature, which is the personal worksheet. I'm going to click Sign. Bingo, it's signed. I'm going to go on to the next signature. Sign it. I rejected the 5% compound inflation option. Ooh, slow down on me here. Come on. Here we go. Okay, here's the agreements page. So it's thumbing through the PDF looking for the next signature. Sometimes you have to scroll down to find it. This is the HIPAA form, I believe. Yeah, this is the HIPAA form. So it's not actually, it's actually doing a kind of a script signature. And because what the company has found is that most facilities will accept this electronic script signature. So it's digitally signed by Alaska Jack. So I'm done. My application is now finished as far as the signatures of all of the applicant, and now I can go back through as the agent and do the very same thing. It's going to just take me to the pages in the application where I need to sign. So personal worksheet, you sign below your client. On the agreement page, you sign below the client as well. That's the temporary insurance agreement. And that's the producer's statement. Yes.
This is a question, and maybe, Kyle, this is probably for you, but I got a question. What is the signature saying? Is it giving a website address, somebody's techie?
Yeah, what it's saying here is it's actually digitally signed by, at least in my signature as the agent, digitally signed by the test agent. It gives the date, the time, and then the IP address from where it was signed.
Yep, that is correct. That's essentially all that's required. The IP address just gives us a stamp of the specific computer that was used so that we can use that for compliance purposes.
Okay. Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you, Kyle. All right, thanks, Kyle. So the app is done, and now I'm ready to submit it. And you'll notice there's a button label here, Submit to Back Office. What that means is coming, if you're writing this business in a name state, it's coming to us here. Or if you're writing it in a golden state, it's going to Herman. And we give it a brief once over, and then we submit it that very same day to the home office, and then it's off to the races. So this application is immediately in the system. There's no scanning, there's no imaging, no nothing. So it'll save a couple of days on the front end for sure. And then, is this, which button do I click on here, Kyle, to remind me that it gives me one more chance to go back and edit that producer page to change the SOCH?
Go ahead and hit the edit button, and then when the window pops up, there will be a blue link.
Right there, okay.
Click here to edit the producer statement without affecting the signatures.
Yep, so this is where you can go back and change your dummy SOCH number to your own personal SOCH number to make it legit. Okay, thanks, Kyle. I forgot about that one. So again, just a recent enhancement that's happened in the last couple of weeks with the e-application is they have created the ability to send an attachment along with. You might want to send a copy of the check you collected, or maybe you've typed up a little summary of the level of activity your client has, or if they're on VA disability, you might want to do a write-up as to what that VA disability is. Anything what you think that will help enhance the application during the underwriting process itself. So that is it. What I'm gonna start going through, John, and unmuting people from the top down.
Okay, let me put one question out here. Question came in: can we print an unsigned HIPAA form for doctors who will not accept digital signature?
You sure can. And then if you'd like, you can send it in at a later date, or if you can add that as an attachment prior to submission.
Thank you, Kyle. John, as you go from the bottom up, just do it slowly, because just do one at a time. If you hear background noise, I'll just encourage you just to go right back and mute them back off again. So if you have me on a speakerphone, please take me off your speakerphone or dial *6 to mute yourself. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of crosstalk going on here. But we've opened up the lines, and if anybody has any additional questions you'd like to have answered, now would be the time to bring those up.
It's Charlie Nash. I have a question.
Hi, Charlie. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. When I went into, I have my my thing all set up with you guys, and then I hit Sales Tool, and you had scrolled down to the very bottom of that page, and there were a couple of options to get into the apps. Mine's blank. It's got all the Medicare supplement, all that info. It looked just like your screen, but there's no two little links down at the bottom.
All right, Charlie, we'll get that fixed. We will get that fixed.
Okay, good. And then I do have some other questions. When it comes to clicking yes, no on a lot of the medical and all that, is it automatically going to be populated no, and then I just change it to a yes?
No, they're blank.
They're blank.
You have to answer the question, right.
No problem. And then I also saw when we got to that first area where it said submit to back office, in terms of my placement rate, I've learned a little something this morning to help improve that, and that is on these electronic apps, hold it until the next day, or you get the check or whatever, so you really feel that it's secure business. And is there a way to do that? I mean, or do I have to submit this?
No, you don't. You can leave it in the status as being signed and not submit it. When you go back into your e-apps, it'll bring up this menu, Start App or View Applications. You can click on the View App, and it'll bring up the list of all the applications you have done, either submitted or incomplete or complete or signed or waiting for signature.
Great. Okay.
And then you can go reopen it back up and submit it. So it will store it in there for 30 days is what they have a time bomb on it right now.
Perfect. Okay.
So if you have an appointment coming up 3 days from now and you have all the personal detail on a client, go ahead and start an application and pre-fill some of the stuff that would just be time consuming, like their name, address, all that kind of stuff ahead of time.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, that's great. And then I noticed when you're doing electronic signatures, we don't have to worry about putting a date in because it's in that electronic signature, correct?
It's part of the signature is the date, right, and the time exactly too.
And I've done a few deals with you guys, and I haven't had to send in a check yet. I don't know why or what. I mean, not because it's monthly, but even on annual.
You don't have to submit money. the company will do COD business. So if you put 0 on the premium information, you're going to put 0 on the temporary insurance agreement. So your policy effective date is always going to be the policy issue date.
Right.
So yeah.
Obviously, I'm going to be going for checks. I think it secures their commitment, but
definitely.
Okay. Well, that's my litany. Thank you.
You're welcome, Charlie. And I'll check into your access.
I appreciate
Stana Martin
that.
Here.
Thank you.
Hey, Stana.
Hey, 2 questions. On Choose a File, if I have a copy of the check to submit and I want to submit something about military disability, can I put 2 files in, or do they have to be one PDF?
It has to be a single PDF.
Okay, so if I need to do that, I've got to merge the 2 into one, and I can only submit 1 attachment per application, correct?
Correct, but you can send all the faxes you want afterwards.
Okay. You've been watching my correspondence.
Sure.
Okay, my second question is, can we get a PDF of the application once it's finished? I like to keep a copy of it just in case there's any bumps in the process. I can go back and look at what I did. So is there a way to get, once it's finalized, signatures on there, get a copy of it in a PDF?
Kyle?
There sure is. When you're on this screen that we're on right now, if you hit the View button, it'll pull up the application in a PDF format. You'll just click that button, and then you can save the PDF right to your computer.
Perfect. That's what I needed. Thank you.
Oh, look at
Thanks,
that.
Kyle.
That's great.
Beautiful. This is Mike Markowitz. Dave, got a question. With everyone using different mobile devices today, can this be done on a tablet or even a phone?
As of right now, it's strictly computer-based. There hasn't been any testing done. With the exception, from what I understand, we tried it on Safari, and it wasn't functioning the way it was supposed to.
Okay.
So Internet Explorer, Google Chrome are the browsers of choice.
Okay.
Janine Tate, so do you prefer that we hold this and not submit it? Background. And not submit it until we get the check?
Well, in regards to your question, it's one thing that I wanted to touch on that wasn't touched on previously, at least from what I heard anyway. If they're going for conditional coverage, the process that we've adopted is to submit the policy, wait 3 business days for it to be issued a policy number, and then submit the check at that time. There isn't it's something that we got pushed through on our compliance side of things. There isn't a specified time frame as of yet. Just once a policy number is issued, get it to us as soon as possible. But as of right now, there is not a specified time limit. So it's recommended to go ahead and submit the application.
Well, that's really confusing. Because here we are submitting it without actually getting the check, and things can go backwards. So let me ask you something else. Could AIM or Golden Care hold that and not submit it to the carrier until we get the check?
They can. However, if you submit a check to us without a policy number attached to that check, and if AIM or Golden Care doesn't submit it, it won't be put into our system to issue a policy number to it. So without that policy number, if you were to send in a check, it's going to be a lot more difficult to match up that check to the policy.
Is there any way you can just build their checking account?
We are currently working on that functionality, but as of right now, paper check for the initial premium is the only way to do it.
Oh, come on, guys.
We're working on it.
As fast as they can, Janine.
Yeah.
Well, you understand what this whole thing sounds like. It sounds confusing to the client, and it sounds like a hassle to the agent.
Well, it's not going to hold up the underwriting process. I mean, if the client has committed to send you a check, and you submit the application showing that there's premium coming with the temporary insurance agreement, they're going to start processing the application in anticipation of that check coming in sometime between when you took the app and before the policy issues. They won't issue the policy without that premium being in-house.
Well, maybe it's just me, but I'm going to wait till I get that check before I push submit.
And that's fine. You can do that. Like I said, the system will save that application on the website for 30 days.
Question about the electronic signature. Okay.
Go ahead.
When you are you clicking that, or have you given the client control so they're clicking it and it saves it on their IP address? Or
if you're doing a join me session, you can, if you want to pass the control over to them and have them do the click-throughs, it's still going to be showing coming through your IP address, because they're not, even though they're doing it from their PC, it's coming, the link to the website is from your PC, which is perfectly acceptable.
Okay. So we're actually clicking their signature for them.
No. Or, like I said, you can pass the control to them, and they can actually click through the signatures as well.
Okay.
Correct. You wouldn't sign a paper application, so you don't click the signature buttons on the electronic one. Same concept.
Okay. And then can you show us again how you got in to change that Social Security number in the end?
Yes. When you finish all the app processes, you've got the signatures all done, you click on Edit Application one more time, and it brings up this window where you just say are you sure you want to edit the application, yes or no, or click here if you want to edit just the producer statement without affecting the signature pages. So this takes you right back to the producer page where you can scroll down and change that dummied up social number to your social number.
Thank you.
Why see that?
But after you get the client off.
I'm always curious why.
So after everybody's signed it, you've got one more chance to make that edit.
I got a question on that commission code.
Yes.
Is that based on the state the applicant is in, or the state the agent's resident state?
It's the applicant state.
Okay. I'm kind of surprised that they asked for it, because don't they know, New Jersey's a 6Q and Colorado's an AZ? And
no, you got to figure that this e-app is going to be out there for any number of different types of agents to be writing into it that have any number of 100 some odd different commission codes.
Right, but when I log into SPA, I mean, Mutual Omaha's got to know that I'm contracted to sell long-term care through Axia Partners.
Right.
They just have.
They want to know, okay, are you writing, even though you're appointed with Axia Partners, and that's all fair and good, they want to know, okay, now you're writing this application on behalf of AIM or on behalf of Golden Care.
Question is valid.
But you have to do it based on states. That's what I'm saying. They really already know that information. They just haven't coded it to do that.
It could be hard-coded, but it's not. I agree with what you're saying.
Right. Okay.
This is Bruce. I'm in Florida. When you're in the application and you're plugging the numbers in for the plan design, can it, if you want to change something, can it recalculate the premium for you?
No, it's not that smart. It's garbage in, garbage out. So it's anticipating that whatever you're putting in there, you already know what the premium is going to be. So if you change a number, it's up to you to recalculate your premium.
Yeah, something for the future, because you guys have great software for that. Why? Also, I wonder, why do they even need your social? I mean, they've already vetted you. They've checked under your bed and everything. They know from your writing number what your Social Security number is. Why don't they just have that?
Kyle, can you address that at all?
Good question.
It's just something, we have gone through and we've asked that exact same question, and all that we're told is it's a compliance regulation.
Well, on paper apps, I've just X'd it out, and I've put my writing number, and I put the last four of my social, and I put my writing number, and I've never gotten one back, so.
Well, and technically on this application, you could do that as well. All of, like you've been told throughout the whole thing here, it's not very intuitive, so it's just checking to make sure something's in that box. So theoretically, you can do the same thing and submit it, but the standpoint that we are instructing it from here is to do the full social.
I mean, you could leave it dummied in at the 111 numbers, and the company's still going to accept the application itself. It's not reviewing the content; it's just reviewing that the material's there.
Correct.
Further, it won't hold processing up, is what I'm hearing.
Correct.
Hey, Dave, question about the disclosure file that you said was a very large file.
Yes.
We emailing that to the client?
That's the idea, because when it loads as a PDF. So
right, but is it going to be large to email? Because emails have a limit.
I want to say that
Kyle,
file.
do you know how many megabytes that file is, Kyle?
In between 2 and 3 megabytes, depending on the state. So it shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Okay, now that's good. If it's under 10, we're good.
Yeah, it just takes a little bit of time to load on your screen, so that's the time for you to break into some kind of off-label kind of conversation with your client while that's loading up.
Okay. And were you clicking that next signature link at the top? Because it was hard to tell viewing your screen. Were you clicking that where it says next signature up at the top and then coming down and clicking in the signature spot?
Yes, I was just doing the first signature and then clicking next signature as opposed to clicking through each page looking for a signature. So it automatically will search to the next page that requires a signature, whether it be yours or your client's.
And then you bring the cursor down to the area where the signature is required and click there, and that puts in the signature?
Correct.
You show that again?
I can't do it now, John. I've got my signatures all done. But like I said, this session is recorded, and we'll get the YouTube version of it over to Tracy as soon as we possibly can.
Regarding the disclosures on the PDF, you had said save it to your desktop. Is any information in that proprietary to the particular client you're working with, or can you just use that once it's on my desktop? I could just be grabbing that for everyone in the future because it's generic, or is there actually numbers, quotes, things in that leave behind?
The leave behind material is just the generic material of the application, including, in addition to that, it's got the NAIC guide and the Medigap guide.
Gotcha. See what I'm trying to do? That was such a long download. It'd be great once I've done my first electronic app. I know it's on my desktop.
Yeah.
Is there a way to skip that, or do you have to process through it?
That's a great thought, good question. But I think what the e-app is looking is that you actually clicked on that link and open that puppy for every applicant before they will open up that box to check off that you've been sent the material.
Okay. Trying to shorten it a bit. Okay, that's awesome. Thank you.
Hey, Dave?
Yes.
Dave? This is Mike McDonald.
Yes, Mike.
Supposing we're going through the application and they don't have all the information that we need to fill out, so we haven't gotten to the end of the application, does this automatically save?
Yeah, once you start an application, it's saving it, regardless of how far into it you get. So if you hit a roadblock when you get to medications and your client forgot to have all their meds ready for the interview, you can stop it right then and there, and you can just go right back in and pick up right where you left off.
All right, but we can't go any further to get the rest of the information if they had it. Is that correct?
Yes, you can. You can. It'll just show the application as being incomplete, and you won't be able to do anything more with that total application until you complete all of the vacant information.
All right, because they kept bringing me back to the yellow. I was practicing here, so I see it. Okay, thanks.
So another question came up. Once you've done all the signatures, the last edit you can do to this application is just the producer page. If all of a sudden you realize that once you hit the submit button that there's a correction you need to make, you've got to get a whole new page for that page. You cannot go back and once you hit the submit button, it's gone. And with signatures on the application, no more edits can be made to that e-app. If there's a change you want to make to a benefit selection or anything else, you got to get a new page for that particular part of the application and have it initialed by either you or the applicant and faxed in. Just an FYI on that.
When we edit the producer page with the Social Security number, does the client see that?
No, they're already gone. I would suggest you do that after you finished your conversation and you bid your client good day, and then you go back and do that one final edit.
So you're not submitting the file. You're not submitting the file while he's still on the line, then.
I wouldn't. I mean, you may want to not submit it. You may want to just leave it paused for a couple of days until you do get that check. It's up to you. But we just had the concern expressed to us a couple of different times about you typing in your own social number in front of somebody else, and they're trustworthy, but that's just kind of funky feeling. Any other questions? These have all been really good, by the way. Thank you.
Well, by the way, you're the only carrier out there that requires a full social on any kind of application, just so you know.
For the agent?
Yeah.
Thank you. That makes us kind of separates us from the pack.
Yeah.
Dave?
Yes.
Is the app available in all states? You may have mentioned that early. I got in late.
I'm sorry. Somebody coughed in the middle of that.
No, is the e-app? I'm into the sandbox. Is the e-app itself live right now?
Yes.
Or is it coming? I'm sorry, I missed that.
No, right above the sandbox it says LTCi app. That is the live app.
Okay, it's a live app, and if it's accessible to you, then you can use it. It's not. There are no states that are basically saying you guys are saying we can't do it in those states.
No. It's available in all states except Montana and New York.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Any?
This is Charlie Nash. You said you were going to check into fixing my page, perhaps. Should I follow up with that with someone in particular?
I've got your name written down, Charlie, to jump all over it as soon as we get off the phone. I will follow up with you.
I believe you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet. So, as you all hopefully saw, this is pretty slick. We're excited about making this option available to you. Hopefully it will allow you to maybe start writing with us, since this may have been holding you back, or make it a lot easier for you as you do more and more remote selling. We think it's a pretty nice process. We're pretty proud of the effort of the folks at Mutual put into developing this, and we hope you use it earlier and often. Any questions come up, you can feel free to call either us here at AIM or the staff at Golden Care, and we'll if we can't answer your question, we'll get the right resource on the phone to answer your question.
Hey, Dave.
John, Kyle, any other comments?
There was one more question. No, other than nice job, Dave.
Well.
Hey, it's Janine Tate. I'm in my partner's website, and I went to Omaha under carriers, and then I went to the states. And when I click on the states, nothing happens.
Okay, well, that's your website. I'm not sure how the actual navigation happens to get to. Are you trying to get to this map that we talked about?
Yeah, I'm in your map, and then I click on the state, and nothing happens. So that was supposed to take me, but I can go directly to Omaha. I don't have to go through this, right?
Right. Just the highlight we're trying to show on the map is not only does it show you that you can download materials from Mutual, but the GTO materials are there for the critical care product, and now we just finished loading up all the Kemper standalone home health care policy information up there as well in the states where it's approved.
Well, the states aren't working in my site. I don't know if anybody else has a problem with it. FYI.
All right, we'll double check with your staff on that, Janine.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, well, if there are no additional questions, again, thanks. We do fully understand and appreciate what you folks have been going through the last 2.5 months. Congratulations on that humongous effort. We're looking forward to getting you back in our saddle here the first part of July. And if any other questions come up between now and then, please do not hesitate to give us a call. Otherwise, everybody have a great weekend.
Hey, one last quick question. Can you give me the website to get the map of the states, the AIM website?
Yep. It's, hang on. It's right here. It's www.aimforltc.com/Axia Partners.
Great. All right, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Okay, thanks everybody. Kyle, thanks. Really do appreciate your support on this one, buddy.
Yeah, anytime.
Okay. Thanks, John, for all your help.